You're cordially invited to attend the Let's Have a Heart to Heart 21st Annual Hamptons Heart Ball, Saturday, June 10th, 2017, 6 p. to 11 p., 9:30 p. to 12:30 a.m., Southampton Arts Center, 25 Jobs, Southampton, New York. And that is one gorgeous place. Had a lot of people working on this and supporting this event. You have Burton Meredith Cohn, New York Langone, Definer, East End and Winthrop, B&B Dan's Papers, Avenue, Columbia Doctors Novaratis, Hamptons, Community Medical, Hamptons.com, People United, and others, including Good News Planet, American Heart Association. Go to some of our great stories about heart health.
Okay, good evening. As most of you know, my name is Jean Shafiroff, and I want to welcome all of you here tonight on behalf of American Heart Association, a very fine and very large organization that keeps the majority of Americans' heart healthy. And what's more important than our health and our hearts, and of course our country, and friendship and love and family. So we are here, and I'm going to introduce Barbara Poliwoda, who's our executive director, and then two of our honorees. But for an important organization that really keeps so many Americans alive for a very long time. And this is one of our kickoff parties for our gala, which will be held in Southampton on June 10th at the Southampton Arts Center. The tickets are very reasonable. They start at $500, and of course they go up. And the sky's the limit, of course, you know that, you know. And we'll gladly, if you want to write a check tonight, we very happily accept it for this very important organization. And before you leave, there are invitations on the table when you go outside, so please take one with you. And we expect to have a great night, a great band, a great party, a great after party, and we hope to see all of you there. And many of you have supported us over the years. Last year I was honored by this group, and this year we are honoring the village of Southampton. And why are we honoring a village? It sounds so strange, but we're honoring them because they are a heart-healthy village, where CPR is taught in the schools and taught to both young and old, and really a village that cares about people and its heart health. And then we're honoring this lovely couple, the Moscos, and I wanted to introduce both of them. They are two heart surgeons, and Lori, yes? Yes. And Ralph? Ralph. Ralph, I've got it, okay. And in a minute I'm going to hand this over to Lori, who is a wonderful speaker and wants to tell you all about some of the work she does and some of the work she's done with the American Heart Association. But I want to tell you that, is it Lori or Ralph that's operated on 6,000 hearts? Wow. Babies. Babies, which is extraordinary. And we'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Happy to yak on about that.
A few minutes only. We want to keep it short. This is a party, not a lecture. But I'm funny. So I'm going now.
You don't have to worry. I can never get him to talk. Don't worry about that.
All right, so I'm now going to hand this conversation over to Lori, who will discuss a little bit about American Heart and about her work to all of you. And I would say, listen very carefully. I'm excited to listen, and I'm sure she has a lot of great things to say.
Well, first of all, don't go anywhere. I just want to say thank you to Jean. I mean, this is unbelievable. And I just found out, I did not realize that you were the honoree last year.
I was one of them,
yes. So I realized that I have extremely hard shoes to fill. And I'm wondering, can you give me yours? I heard you have a lot of great shoes. I'm sure you do. She's lovely.
I love your dress.
Thank you.
That's fabulous.
And I just think she is the picture of health, and she's so wonderful, and we need people like you to help support everything that we do. And the good news tonight, I'm going to tell all of you one really important thing. You're on your way to preventing heart disease, because One of the risk factors for heart disease, actually it's a protective factor that people don't realize, besides drinking wine, which I know you all know is good for your heart, is giving of yourself. So philanthropy and volunteering actually reduces your risk for heart disease as much as a statin. I'm telling you, it is absolutely true and proven. So everyone here tonight, cheers to you for all you're doing to prevent heart disease. And especially you. Thank you so much.
I'm having a regular heartbeat that comes out once in a while.
You can fix it.
No, and I'm supposed to walk around with a medication called Toprol and pop a half of one. It sounds like I'm an addict, but I take it like once every 2 or 3 months and my heart starts to really race.
You know, mine races every time I see him.
After 35 years of marriage, my heart still races when I
And I'm a preventive cardiologist, so I got problems.
Okay, Lori, I'm going to let you talk a little bit. Okay?
Thank you so much. Really, I think you did a wonderful job. Really, the real doctor in our family is my husband, Ralph, because my kids always tell me he's the real doctor because he cuts people out. I actually do preventive cardiology, and I have been so blessed. My entire career, I have been supported by the American Heart Association. In fact, my very first grant that I received was from the Heart Association, and I was very fortunate to be able to study the problem of women and heart disease, which I was so inspired by so many of my patients who would come to me, who told me stories about when they would go to the emergency room and their symptoms would be really dismissed by doctors. And you got to remember, this is at a time, I don't want to give my age away, but I was pre-Title IX. I swam on the men's team in high school. Yeah, so I was well prepared for a career in cardiology because most of the people that I worked with were men. And we didn't really recognize a lot of the symptoms of heart disease in women. And I was blessed in 1997 to stand on the steps of the Capitol and to really fight for a movement of heart disease in women, which became to known as Go Red! Go Red for women.
Yes, I had pink on earlier. They made me change to red, so here we
I
are.
look gorgeous in red. You look gorgeous in any color. And so the American Heart Association was really the first player in the women in heart disease movement. And over the last 25 years, we've developed guidelines for women, educational programs for women. And for all the men in the room, I just want you to know that women are often the heart keepers in the family, and we do this all for you, right? We want to keep you guys around. And it's been a blessing that most recently in my career, the American Heart Association awarded Columbia University Medical Center, where I'm a professor, a $4 million grant. Yes, to study lack of sleep and heart disease in women in different life stages. And so, I want to introduce somebody who's really the driving force behind our grant, who is my mentee, if you will, who I'm training to take over in a leadership role, Dr. Marie-Pierre St-Ange, who is an expert on sleep and wrote an American Heart Association scientific guideline on how lack of sleep increases our risk for obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. And if you want any tips, she's the one to ask on how to sleep better. But without this life-saving research, we wouldn't know all the things we know today to prevent heart disease. And it's really you in all this room who donate to the American Heart Association that make all of that possible. And I always say to my, I always talk about my husband who really saves individuals one person at a time. You know, for me, in my field, where we do science and we write national guidelines, we don't see the people we help. Well, likewise, everyone in this room that's donating your time, your effort, you may not realize what an impact you have, but I can tell you, it's immeasurable. We could not do what we do without people like you and people everywhere in this room and that's going to come and support the Heart Ball. I really, really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I will just let my husband say his 2 words that he gets usually at the dinner table. Ralph Mosca.
So I always say to myself, how am I going to follow that? So basically, Lori tries to save people thousands at a time, and I do congenital heart surgery, which basically means that babies and children born with hearts that are malformed. So holes in the hearts, missing pieces of the heart, anything you can think of can be messed up, and we try to either fix or palliate it so they can have a good lifestyle. What people don't understand, and this I think may be one of the first times the American Heart has tried to throw the spotlight on it, is that it's actually 1% of live births. So every 100 kids that are born, 1 has a heart defect. They don't all need surgery, but they all need to be followed, and some of them, probably 40% need surgery, and perhaps multiple surgeries. So in any event, it's also a very important thing that we do through the American Heart Association research and the defibrillators. So you've probably all seen on the news, there's the occasional 16-year-old strapping kid who's out there playing football or basketball, and then he's gone. And and that's for a number of reasons that we won't bore you with. But the fact that there are defibrillators there is the only way to try to save them. If they weren't there, by the time the EMTs get there, it's over. So they need immediate defibrillation, and until probably 5–10 years ago, very few places had it. So now almost everyone has it. So that's, again, thanks to
your dollars.
Donors and dollars and American Heart Association, and throwing light on the fact that, yes, you hear about this once a year, but it's happening a lot more than we hear about. So basically, I will not bore them with the details of congenital heart disease, only to say one other thing, and if you think about it though, all these people that we've been operating on for the last 30–40 years are now adults. Yeah. And so they're going to not only have congenital heart disease, which needs to be cared for by a specialty in and of itself, but they're also going to get coronary disease to a certain extent, like we all do. And so it's very complicated, and we need to have research into how best to take care of them from a pediatric congenital standpoint and an adult cardiac standpoint. So we have a lot to do, and we can't do it without money, and we can't do it without smart people who do research, and it's all helped by things like this. So we really appreciate it.
And I have a question.
Sure.
I am very familiar with an organization called Surgeons of Hope.
Yes.
Are you familiar? They've gone to Nicaragua,
yes.
And they work with the children who have congenital defects there. And so I was honored by them a few years
yes.
ago. And I just wanted to say that we're all, we all work together. We live in this phenomenal country where different charities and different health groups, government, private sector, business, we all work together. And without doctors like the Moscos, and without American Heart, so many things could not happen, not only in the United States, but around the world. And so, Barbara, do you want to say anything about American Heart?
No, I do not.
Other
than thanking everyone for being here, and thanking Jean, and thanking the Moscas for their support.
And don't forget, those invitations are on the table when you leave. You are required to take one home tonight before you go to bed. You take out your checkbook, you write a little check to American Heart, and we'll see you on June 10th. In Southampton at the Southampton Arts Center. It promises to be a great event. Randi, Schatz from Avenue Magazine is involved. We have a lot of wonderful people here that have been involved for many years. I want to thank all of you for coming out. I want to thank all the press groups that are here, because I think you all realize the importance of the American Heart. It's not about any individual. It's about our entire country and this wonderful organization bringing us all forward to living a longer, healthier life. And on that note, there's lots of champagne, lots of wine, and hors d'oeuvres. And I also want to thank my husband who's floating around, because he puts up with all my parties. Okay.